Welcome to 221B Baker Street, by way of the South Gate Bridge. I am Sherlock Holmes. This is my colleague, Dr. Watson. Actually, I am your host, Zachary Hare, and while she is not Watson, she is the Watson to my Holmes, Kristen Deere.
Hi there.
Today we'll be talking about one Watson, one Holmes. Sounds like a weird recipe or something. You'll just add one Watson and one Holmes, and you'll have a detective team. And we have a consulting detective already prepared.
Quite lovely one.
Yes. You gotta respond quicker. That sounds like Danny. Makes my jokes fall flat. It's like, and punchline. And Kristen pauses, lets the joke fall flat, and she jumps in. That's our style. All right. So today we have another episode focused on everyone with a twist. Someone from everyone, which sounds like a weird folk song from the 60s. Someone from everyone.
Oh.
We're all from everyone.
Oh, you need lessons.
Coming to... Hey, I never claimed to be a folk singer, although I started a band. Someone from everyone is coming to Holmes asking for his help with one of the dumbest screenings I've ever heard. I don't even know how you... I'm sucking chest wound. I almost want Holmes to say, I'm gaping eye socket.
It's dumb, but I love it. I love all the stupid names. It's hilarious hearing them say it.
Oh yeah, you can tell Darius hadn't coming up with the names for this. So apparently there is a sort of civil war going on in everyone.
The first Sherlock flatlines.
Oh yeah, but I think we all knew that what was going on. I don't think a single person was going, "Oh my god!"
It's just I just thought it was funny. I like that.
Oh yeah, we all went the same thing. Oh, he's experimenting with, because some people can do that, which is really cool.
I know. That's actually the first thing I was thinking of, how cool it would be to be able to do that.
Takes a lot of training, from what I hear. Yeah, so the hacker, apparently there's some kind of civil war going on in everyone. Like, half the people want to stay as just cyber vigilante, kind of or more like tricksters and mischief makers. The other side wants to go after specific targets. Although I hate the idea of getting political means you automatically have to side with the left. While the right is, of course, a little bit crazy, both sides are out of their freaking mind. But that's neither here nor there. So
let's not get political. That was the whole problem with everyone. Come on.
Right. That's what I mean. And I like when it goes, the soul of the collective, and he's like, did you just roll your eyes?
Yes, I love that, the eye roll. And he clearly does, and then he says no.
Yeah. And then, I love the way he says wound, too. It's like, Mr. Chest Wound.
Yes.
Johnny Lee's got that little talent for saying stuff like that.
Well...
But anyway.
Well, also when he says it to others that he loves, he enjoys, really pronouncing, sucking chest wound.
Yeah. And I like how he's like, I made you wear a dress once.
Yes. And I actually love this guy's red highlights. I'm actually a huge fan of unusual hair and eyebrow piercings and such. Even though I don't partake in it, I just like to see it on other people. I'm a fan of looking at it, not doing it. Anyway.
This has been a view. You went off on a little. I think right now you had a far off look in your face as you pictured all the cute boys with piercings and how you're just like. Huh. Well, let's come back to the show.
Back in my past a little bit. Okay, go on.
Come back to us, Kristen. Come back. Jeez, the same problem I had with my original Thrones host. Come back. Okay, enough with the men. Move on to the show. All right. Okay. So he wants Holmes to do something which is funny because I think that's why. I mean, if the guy said, "I believe he's trying to kill me," Holmes would have probably helped him. But what he said is, "I want you up there." And it's like Holmes does not do that.
No.
He hasn't. No, and that's why he didn't even think about. I mean. I'm sure he's not completely against helping everyone, but for that reason, he wouldn't help. I mean, which he does, he gets a better reason later on.
That's the only reason he keeps listening. I mean, he looks so bored. He seems so bored, and then calling him emotionally stunted, and how chest wound seems sort of hurt by that.
Yeah, he tells him no, and he leaves, and he informs Watson of what happened, and we're getting a little we get a side story with Watson this episode. Obviously, she's still affected by what happened because she's just so annoyed by her friends.
Yeah, I didn't
She's
really
like,
care this
even
time about the whole idea that it was
yeah.
connected to her feeling bad or whatever, whatever she was feeling about it. I just thought that I actually liked the way she was uninterested in her friends, because I would have been. I mean, listen to them. They're morons.
I just like I hope you don't talk about your own friends like that. Like,
well, no, I don't have morons for friends. I mean, listen, it's just.
It's like, Kristen, how come you're not going out with your friends? They're morons.
Well, a few of them, but I won't.
Ah! Yeah, but I agree with Watson. I mean, just although an idea just came to me, and I might go back to the episode where her boyfriend was killed and move and go forward, because if you think of it, she could be going through the not 5 stages, how many there are, the stages of grief, because like she did denial and there's anger, so maybe that's what they're doing.
Yeah, that's possible.
I'd have to look back to verify, and I will get back to everyone. I think it could be what they're doing. But so Holmes just finds a piece of evidence. The gum wrapper has an interesting song lyric. So we get this awesome theme with Clyde.
Well, didn't we first there was this whole like other side thing where Watson's trying to, I mean, it was just a short little piece, but the Watson trying to prove the daughter of the neighbor wants attention.
Oh, that comes right after the scene with Clyde. But yeah, that felt, I don't know, I got nothing from that.
I know. Well,
it was like, hey, look.
The one thing that I thought was funny was the juxtaposition where Watson is sitting there serious and formal, and Sherlock is relaxed and personal, and also bored.
Well, that was the purpose of what they were served,
Right, but I just thought the way their appearance, the juxtaposition there was kind of funny.
Yeah, and that was there in the thing. So yeah, we have a side story which really it barely felt like filler. So I did like. I don't know why, but I like Holmes. They have several interesting volumes on metallurgy.
And actually, he said sitting there for 5 hours reading about metallurgy, but.
I like how he goes.
That does kind of sound interesting, though.
But how about Clyde rocking out?
Yes, I love Clyde. I always love Clyde.
We have another reference to someone must be a fan of the band, because Goat Whore makes another reference here. They're on the band list of music Clyde likes.
I thought the library thing was before Clyde. There was the library, and then Belle calls about the body, right?
I thought there. Wait a minute. I don't know. I'm we're all over the place. It's the Baker Street podcast. Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, we find out about the body before Clyde also.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. I kind of skipped the. Okay. So we get the body, and Belle tells them.
Yes, there's a wallpaper.
Yeah. Now. I want to see this picture.
Me too. It's been referenced
countless times. I want to see Johnny Lee Miller in the pink frilly dress. You cannot tell me that the writers didn't take a picture somewhere that it's swinging the ether. I'm telling you, it's out there. I don't care what anyone says.
There has to be out there somewhere. I want to see it. It's hidden on some website that hasn't been connected to the internet yet. They're just gonna flip the switch and upload it.
Right. So Holmes examines the body and finds a hair from.
Sorry.
Oh, jeez. Well, but was it a sucking chest wound?
I don't know about that. He was too dead for any of that to be going on.
I'm not even. So he finds the hair from sucking chest wound, and they pick him up.
Oh, and he uses a macro lens on his phone. I'm a huge fan of phone lenses. Anyway.
Is that what that is?
Yeah. He used a special lens on his cell phone.
I didn't know it was phone. I thought it was just a special light.
No, you could see the lens coming off the back. It was connected.
Oh, so
sorry.
It was that. I guess it's a very, very interesting tool. So he's getting interrogated, and he's like you were in a comment. You threatened to kill him. What do you mean I threatened to kill him? He's like, I wish I could put cancer in a bullet in a cannon and shoot it at your whole family. He's like, that's just how we talk. It actually reminds me. Do you remember the movie Thank You for Smoking?
No.
It's a good movie. It's with Aaron Eckhart. There's a scene where they're in a movie studio, and one of the employees there, he's like, "Let me show you to the office." And as he's walking, another employee comes by and he goes, "I'm gonna cut off your mother's head and kill your whole family." And they high five, and the two people look at him like, "Oh, inside joke." It's just
no, but it reminds me of when I was in high school. I used to. There were a couple of times when I would fight with my best friend, but a fake fight, and we would just yell at each other and say horrible things.
I've done that.
I would have people coming up to me saying, "Are you guys still fighting?"
Me and my friend would do that all the time. I'm really good. Actually, what me and my buddy would do is I'm really good at stage falls and stage combat. So I would have him beat the crap out of me, and people would be like, "What's going on?" And I'd be like, "What?"
Yeah. I love that. I love messing with people like that.
I'm actually, not to toot my own horn, but I'm really good at the nut shot reaction. And I would have randomly hit me in the leg, make it look like he hit me there, and just be like, "Oh!" and then we'd move on like nothing happened.
That's hilarious. I'd love to see that over and over again.
I bet many people would. Oh, although before we get too much on the tangent, I'll say this and move on. Another thing we would love to do is we would be talking about a normal conversation, and then if someone came walking, we'd suddenly say the most disgusting thing we could think of, and so the person would walk by like, "What did I just hear?"
Okay, yeah, I never did that, but...
Yes, okay. So they pick up Mr. Chest Wound, and it turns out he has an alibi, who doesn't corroborate his alibi at the beginning.
Right.
I love how she's just like, she's like Fat Tony from The Simpsons. What's a murder? What? We flirted, and that's about it. And he's like, and I like how Holmes is like, yeah, because investment bankers are paragons of truth.
Yes. And then also we have, then they assume that that he, well, at least Sherlock doesn't think he did it. I mean, Sherlock knows that she's lying, but they're all trying to look for him. I mean, get a photo of him, or right. No, wait, that was before. I'm sorry.
That was afterwards. It's okay. No,
we kind
of mix things. We're mix and matching. It's okay. It's the way we roll.
Okay. This is after Clyde, then, right?
Yes, it is. I swear to God, one of
the surveillance, and there was a python coming in the house.
Oh yeah, we forgot to mention the python. I like how Holmes is just like, it's gone now.
Yeah. Oh, it's gone now. It's okay.
But I'm telling you, one of the writers must be a fan of goat horror. That's why he keeps making appearances. Although nothing will ever beat the way Kitty said it. Goat horror. Yes. So they used the playlist to find out that Chest Wound is a DJ, which they get his ID, and that's what leads to the interrogation. But then the woman, after she recants, she comes back and recants again, because apparently she is married.
Yes, but at this point it's not enough. He's already in jail.
He got his hair. There's blood in his car.
That would be horrible. Like what kind of person would do that? Oh, we weren't together, and then she could hear that he was. They said he was. They were investigating him. I mean, he went to jail because she wouldn't corroborate.
Right. And she's a member of everyone. She tries to say, "No, I just go on the forums."
Yeah.
Right.
I don't like her.
I like How about when he says the rule is the internet, no one has sex, I'm the exception, and it's, hey, we're podcasters, we're on the internet, I take exception to that. But I like Holmes trying to walk him through the process, maybe like the whole Cui Bono who benefits and all the reasons. There must be a reason that someone's setting you up.
Right.
And he's trying to, and I love how he's like, it's probably the CIA or the KKK or ISIS.
I know, he's going through
and
all
Holmes
that,
is like,
oh, there's so many people who hate me because I'm like so important.
I like how Holmes is like, if those people wanted you dead, you'd be dead. But so eventually, like you said, with the recanted, it's not enough because there's so much physical evidence against him so he asked him to think of something else, and that actually makes Mr. Chestwound think of his species stash.
Well, he specifically tells him, follow the money, and he has to keep directing him back to the trail.
Yeah. Oh, we get a little hint of species character as a guy who never has sex, and we find out later that's probably true.
Right.
But yeah, he tells him to follow the money. So Holmes decides then to try to figure out who everyone is in the inner sanctum of everyone, and he actually deduces a few of them.
Yes.
Through the some of the are kind of interesting. You got some of this, and although how he figures that out is not really explained.
Right, but I love the names; they're hilarious, and just listening to Watson and
Pony Pew Pew.
Yeah, and was it later that there was a rainbow coming out of the unicorn's butt?
That was right at this point. That's when she said he's got the board with the thing. That's when Watson comes in and says, "Is that a rainbow coming out of the unicorn's butt?" And he goes, "That is Pony Pew Pew."
Yes, and I love.
And what the hell is drop snout?
Oh no, I don't know.
Kill spree. Kill spree is the most normal one they got.
But I love that. It's just funny hearing Watson say this. It's not as weird hearing Sherlock say those names, but because he's always saying weird things, although it is entertaining. Right. But Watson, she never says stuff like that, and it's just funny. It's like new ways to make her say funny things.
Don't forget monkey versus shark.
Yes, monkey versus shark. Well, actually, he's one of the people they think might be involved, right? Yeah, he's. Well,
that's the one with the motorcycle.
Right, he's the one who suddenly became rich, and so they went to talk to him.
and apparently drives like an idiot.
Yeah, and the way he's like not even concerned that the cops are there questioning him. He's just texting away. Yeah.
Well, he's not concerned until they say the name species. That gets his attention.
And then also the way he says, "Oh, it was the CIA or whatever."
Right. And I love how this is how stupid the guy is. He's actually chatting on everyone while he's talking to the cop.
Yeah.
Holmes is like, "You're doing it right now."
And then saying how he learned lockpicking on YouTube. It's like, oh, like it's no big deal.
Oh, Holmes's reaction to that is like lockpicking. You can tell he's like, because he's like an expert lockpicker, yep. And he's got to hear someone. I did it from YouTube. By the way, I love how he's like, "Hey, let me go. I'll give you the information." Like, they're not going to report him to cyber crimes. Give me a break. Guy's got hundreds of people's credit card numbers. But I do like how they're like, "Hey, that's a pretty nasty injury you got. Not going to get good treatment at Rikers."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when he tells him he broke in, but it was weeks before the murder, so he would have no reason.
Right. She's had no idea it was even him.
Right.
And then I love how they bring all they get the data. He gives them the data, and then but it's all in boxes.
Right.
Yes, no way to search. Do an easy search, which is perfect for someone like Sherlock.
Right. So,
he loves the tedium.
Yeah, and he said that he's talking about like the stash isn't just money. There's other reasons someone might kill species
Right.
for it. And so starts, like you said, looking into the stash, and I wonder if any of it's funny because I wonder how much of that would be in real life redacted, you know?
Yeah. Probably a lot of
So,
it. Except, yeah, and they wouldn't get it right away either. Because if it's that kind of data, they'd have people. It would take like a while to even get to them. I bet they'd be busy going over
yeah,
all of it,
probably.
redacting, blah blah blah.
Now, we have another little view into Watson because Holmes is like, oh, have fun. I knew I forgot to mention something. Oh, apparently Mason is grounded, so Holmes can't use him to help with
Well,
everyone.
grounded from the internet, which is probably the only kind of grounding that counts for him.
Right. And we get a little view into Watson, like Holmes is saying, "Weren't you supposed to go out?" He's like, and this is when Holmes really confront. I mean, he did a little bit before when he said, "I'm usually the one that has stupor," but he's saying that I like how he says, "This does not work for me."
Yeah, he makes it
And
about
she
him.
looks at him like, "What?" It's funny. He makes it about him, but it's still something she needs to
Right.
hear. And I like how he says, "I appreciate you delving deep, but I cannot help it. I like how he uses the saying, "You're becoming like me," as a negative. I like how he knows that but like he says, one Holmes and one Watson.
Yes, two Holmes doesn't work for him.
Right. I like that. It's a weird way of him acknowledging himself.
Yeah.
That, like he said, he knows that he's withholding, but he also knows that kind of works for him, although he's changing. It doesn't work for her. That's not who she is. And I really think they're trying to go for the stages of grief thing because that's how someone like that would react when you would confront him about it.
Yes.
And as we know, they do psychology quite well in the show. But she dismissed the issue, and he lets it go. So we get. I think this could be in my top
awakening.
5. Yeah, I think could be in my top 5.
Yes, it's a good one. I like it.
Wake up, Watson, and I should have tweeted the writers to find out. I wonder if that really is Wake Up, Watson in Morse code.
I'm sure it is.
Our next podcast will be completely in Morse code. This week on Baker Street. And we actually learned something, an interesting, as we do every so often in this show, a real historical fact that you can identify a Morse code operator by their style of their typing.
Their fists.
Or dash. Yeah.
And I thought this was so interesting. I actually looked it up because the whole story, that even if you couldn't decode the message, you knew where the operator was because of how, because of his style.
I'm surprised we've never seen that in a movie because that's cool.
It is. Well, maybe it has been in a movie. It's just not one we've heard of.
Well, that's true. That's true. It's not a lot. I've seen a lot of war movies, but I haven't seen all of them. But so we have. He tells that the reason he's bringing this up is because you can do the same thing with people's typing and writing styles online, and through this he deduces that there are two species.
Yes.
Yes, and then the other one is probably a inner circle member called Tessie.
Yes, because Tessie's style matches species 2.
Mm-hmm.
And they keep calling her she because of the name.
And because the icon is like a fairy.
Right. And
also,
sorry, what?
And apparently Tessie is using species death to rouse them as something called Operation Right Nut.
Love that.
Yes.
That's one of the funniest ones in there. They should have had someone called Right Nut. Although, I guess Operation Right Nut, that is pretty funny.
Yes,
double meaning there, but...
yeah. Yes. And Holmes further deduces that someone is using this to try to, that it makes sense that the person who do this would set up sucking chest wound in order to bring about to make everyone more political.
Right.
So they start looking into Tessie, and Watson figures out And this has got to be one of the weirdest references they've ever done in the show.
Yes, species killed by species.
Well, no, I meant the fact that Tessie is a fan of Thundar the Barbarian.
Oh, right. Thundar the Barbarian. That
which I actually have never watched.
Me either, but I did look that up. AOR, Ariel Ukla Ride. Those are names of characters, Ariel and Ukla.
Yeah, I know that much.
Okay.
I thought, I was more into He-Man, but okay. Yeah.
Wait,
God,
we
Holmes'
skipped again.
Oh.
We had Sherlock apologizing, knowing that the way he helped Watson was through his me filter.
Right.
Although, and then how he said that they gained a working definition of friendship, and
yes, that was quite interesting.
Yes,
when he does that,
and the best of each. They get the best of each of them, and it's mutually beneficial. And being isolated is not his best quality. So it's healthy for her to be with friends. But see, all this, it still benefits him too. So it's like you could say it's still through his me filter, only he says it in a nicer way.
Right. It was a very interesting commentary seen through Holmes' eyes.
Yes.
Like how he views himself and the relationship between them. So
but
through
I like how
Thundar
sort of dismissed the idea.
Yep.
To work on the case. Like, eh.
Yep. Yeah, like we'll deal with it after we solve the case. Well, many people have said this season was about Watson. Like her finding herself and stuff, and it's really interesting to and I think that's how this season will conclude. She's gonna really discover herself,
Yeah, hopefully.
Well, I'm really curious to see where they're gonna go with this, because first season ended on a triumphant note, second season was bittersweet, so I'm really curious to see how this season's gonna conclude. But we will see. So, using the Thundar method of investigation, she goes online saying she has a lunchbox. What is it with people in lunchboxes?
And I kind of like the idea, just giving it away for free and then snapping photos.
I know, but let me tell you something. Anyone who's buying anything online would be immediately suspicious of, I'm giving it away for free.
Yeah, but it's in a public place, so it's different than a lot of a lot of these are like nobody would in their right mind do this kind of stuff. Some of the past episodes where they've people just like joined forces with other people they've never met on the internet to do something really shady. At least this, they're meeting her in a public place, and it's just to like get something for free. And there are a lot of people online who do that, who give something. Usually it's digital though. It's like, oh, I'm giving this digital thing away for free, because there are a lot of people who don't believe in like making a profit on things.
I forget, we skipped something again when they visited Sucking Chestwood in prison.
Oh yeah.
And this is where we find out what Operation Right Nut is. It's apparently wants to go out something called the Atherton Foundation, which is this ultra-conservative, psychotic think tank. These are the kind of things that people that disprove climate change.
Yeah, Atherton Foundation.
Right, which to tell you the truth doesn't sound like the worst idea to bring down.
Yes, quote unquote think tank.
Right.
Yeah. That's the part that we I was going over. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And then they go there to warn them, and I love how dismissive they are. Like an extremely vigilant hacker group is going to come after you, and the guy's like, okay.
Yeah.
Have a nice day. And we learn later it's because he's ready for the attack.
Yes.
So, in order to try to delve more into it, they actually so then we get the Thundar stuff. which leads them. They believe they found the identity of Tessie. Although Holmes knows immediately the Aspen Group must be some kind of government must be affiliated with the government on some level.
Yeah.
So they use the lunchbox to figure out who Tessie is. They confront
only one
Tessie,
of them is a hacker. That's how they of this
and then
photo she snaps.
And then they
go to his home.
Get confronted, but they are confronted by the FBI, who lies like a rug and says, "Oh, he was with me that night."
Yes, Agent Branch, which immediately makes me think of Longmire.
Oh, jeez. Which is coming back this year.
Yay!
And don't forget to check out the Longmire Posse podcast. Shameless plug. I think that's that was interesting. That's the first time I ever podcast for a show that came back, but and coming back no small part into the
Gregson
workings. Oh yes, Gregson. Oh yeah, I would
put cuffs on God.
God, if you had the evidence. Yes. I love that. That's I love his character. You know, he's big time, and that's in no small part due to Aiden Quinn. You know.
Yes, of course.
He's just so good at. So they have to get evidence so they can, because Holmes believes that she's lying to protect because he's an informant against everyone.
And I love the character that he brings in, Briggs.
Oh, yes.
Forensic accounting guy.
Although I would have liked to have seen more, just because they didn't really give him a quirk.
No, well,
all the other regulars,
a little bit. I mean, he's just he is completely focused on his account. That's how accountants are too.
I did like how I'm gonna get some. You want me to get some Thai food? I was like, oh, I know your company. He's like, Briggs, accountant, and she's like, okay, do you want Thai?
Yeah. I mean, he's just type.
Yeah. So they find out more about the acid find, which leads pretty much them to substantiate their conclusions. But then he decides to also have him look into the accounts of.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Branch.
I'm just back on the accountant one more time. I like how Watson says she's going through his notes and she's like, "You can read this," and then the guy glares at her. I thought that was funny. Anyway. You know how the accountant glares at Watson after she says that?
Yes, that was quite good. And so they're looking into and so he confronts Briggs, and she's basically daring Holmes to expose her.
Yeah.
Like she's like, wow, but then he's like, about your when he said nanny, I almost went. From when she was a child? What?
Yeah. I thought this was so weird, this part. The Tibetan nanny, illegal.
Yeah,
an illegal nanny that you're paying at a fraction of the cost, but, why a Tibetan nanny of all things? She could be from anywhere.
Maybe it's a real trend in England. Maybe it's a real thing. I don't know.
I know, it's such a weird little reference to have in there.
Yeah, I think the writers are good at that. So through the nanny, Holmes.
Well, also telling her that he already informed everyone that they can't hack Atherton.
Oh yeah, yep. That's what he does. He tells like, and I'm hoping we see a little bit more. So that destroys her case pretty much. Now they know not to trust Tessie,
right?
And not to who's not a 16-year-old girl from Manitoba.
Right. Although he's supposedly dating someone from Manitoba.
Which worries me that's the 16-year-old girl, which is kind of scary, but. And so, like, I always love in TV shows when you have these cops and agents who are so blinded by ambition, they're ruining their own case to complete their case.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I'm gonna save the world by breaking the law and pretty much ruining the reasons I started this case in the first place.
It's called karma.
Right. And so he gets her to give up the murder weapon anonymously, and which leads to the arrest of Brady.
Right.
They called him the hacker killer.
And I like that Watson's kind of upset that Branch gets to walk, but I like that Sherlock mentions, but she's on the wrong side of everyone, which is probably its own kind of hell.
Now, I did like that, but I would have liked to see some evidence of that.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to see something creative.
I think the episode should have ended with her she couldn't get into her car, her I don't know, her computer won't turn on.
Or something more, even more creative, actually.
Right.
Something interesting that we wouldn't have thought of.
Right. I would have liked to have seen it, and maybe I'd something,
I think maybe they had way too many strange references and things they had to think about in this episode. There was already so much stuff going on.
And so they get their killer, but even though Branch gets that things to everyone, I felt like I could have used more closure with her character.
Yeah.
Because she was a crooked FBI agent.
Yeah, they just kind of we don't get to see much about her at all, really. I mean, even her reaction to and the whole nanny thing, and we don't really learn anything about who she is. Just that now we know. I guess she has kids. we don't know how many or what,
And that's the second time this season that the person who got away with something. I'm thinking of Bella.
Yeah.
The computer. Yeah.
Well, also that it's also the second time that we didn't really get to learn anything about one of the bad guys, or bad woman in this case. Actually, the other one was a woman also. That blonde. I can't remember. I can't remember the name of the episode. The one who was on that.
By saying that.
What?
You're being so specific. You're like, that blonde.
Oh, she was on that show that got canceled. I can't remember her name.
Oh, well, you are a font of information.
It involved the gaming.
Our listeners the Indian, are turning us
gaming
off.
Casinos. It involved the gaming.
Las Vegas?
No, the on the reservation, and had something to do with
I'm just going to sit here and count the listeners switching us off as you're trying to figure this out.
Okay.
That's the 10,000.
That show she was on.
Yeah, if any of our listeners can remember the show with the thing and the blonde, please email us at BakerStreetPod
I think it was
at gmail.com.
We don't learn anything about the bad guy.
Baker Street Podcast on Facebook and Baker Street Pod on Twitter. If you'd like to help us figure out the blonde with the thing and the place and the people with the yada, yada, yada.
Okay. We talked extensively about it. I can't remember. It was this season.
Oh. Okay. So, now I think is an excellent time to have Kristen's clue cap.
Oh wait, what about Watson reconnecting with her friends, and then you've got enjoy yourself, Watson. I'll try, Holmes. It's like the only time she's ever called him Holmes.
I know. It's just the storyline was just such filler.
Well, it was sort of like the title there at the end, because you've got enjoy yourself, Watson. It's one Watson. I'll try, Holmes. One Holmes.
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought it was kind of a cute little ending. I didn't like that storyline, but I thought it was cute the way they talked to each other there at the end.
Right.
Okay, sorry.
So now, after much away, we have the girl with the list and the stuff, or as we call it, Kristen's clue cap.
So the case this week was the murder of Species. And I'm just going to use their screen names because it's more fun that way. And the first clue was a strand of sucking chest wounds hair on the body. And then we get a lot of kind of roundabout clues, such as sucking chest wounds set list and, basically finding his identity. But these clues don't really matter in the end. They get kind of involved and they don't matter to the murder. So I'm going to kind of filter them out because there were a ton of clues. So then, but chest wound does say that Species had mentioned a stash of valuable data. And then they find a likely suspect who had suddenly become rich, but he had stolen the data long before the murder. But it's that data, when they get that data from him, where Sherlock finds another clue in the data itself. Because Species he had two different texting styles. And so, because he outsourced half of the work. And so the one who stood to gain the most from his death was this other Species. And so then they see that Species and Tessie have the same style. So Tessie's the other Species. And then the next clue is that Tessie's behavior after the murder is basically a clue to what he wants, and that is Operation Right Nut, which is to hack Atherton Foundation, which the other Species thought was too dangerous. Okay, and then we really get in the weeds when the FBI agent Branch gets involved and gives them an alibi, and but then basically this is the last clue as to why he did it, because we find that he's an informant for the FBI, and then he later, once they get past all the Agent Branch stuff, then he confesses that Species had confronted him about how he was trying to destroy everyone, and then it got violent and he killed him. Okay, so that's it for the clue cap.
Alrighty. So, final thoughts on the episode.
I don't know. I liked it. There were a lot of I didn't like that we didn't get to learn much about Branch. I mean, she was kind of the main bad guy in all this, in a way. Although at least the killer goes away, but still.
Although when you think about it, the killer even didn't, we knew that he was like a reclusive hacker, but we didn't learn
anything about him either. And but also that it got so far in the weeds, kind of like this podcast. It got so far in the weeds of just there were tons of clues that didn't actually get to any point, and
yeah,
lots of unusual references. I actually like some of those, but maybe too many in one episode, because they didn't get to really focus on any one, except for the one that was interesting, the one about the fist.
Right.
But yeah, it was kind of, and I like some of the characters. It was just we didn't get to spend enough time with any of them, so it was so.
Yeah, I gotta go with you on this. I mean, I don't like it. It was a good episode, watchable, but it's definitely not the ones with high rewatch value.
Right, not at all.
It seemed that, it kind of made a couple interesting. It had good moments, but as an episode overall, I just have to say, eh.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't horrible,
but right, it's just it's a one and done episode, I'd have to say.
And it actually,
the one thing I'll take,
the other episode I was talking about before, that was the only other episode that I didn't really like this season. I just can't remember the name.
Which was?
Actually, I probably have it in my notes, but I'll come up with that later.
Okay. And the one thing I would like to, I'm curious to see if we're going to get some more references to, because Holmes has now directly helped everyone. So I wonder if that's going to change anything. I'm curious to see if that's going to get any references this season.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll see. So yeah, that pretty much wraps it up for me. Anything you want to add?
No, that's it.
Oh, Whitey! It is time for us to depart, for the game is afoot.